yeah, I'm going to try and beat that horse. I am not going to try to beat one of the best fillies and mares we've seen in the last 15 years. Don't buy into that mantra.
Yeah.
I can't find one. And that's a great example. We have a couple of minutes. That's a great example, Greg, because people are going to look, and it's raining down there, and it's going to be muddy or sloppy down at Oaklawn Park. People are going to look, and they're going to see that Finite has a win in the slop. She won the Goldenrod. They're going to see that Another Broad is 4 for 6. She's never won on a fast track. All of her wins are come on wet tracks. And you're going to look at those PPs and you're going to say, oh, there are a couple of viable alternatives here. There aren't. She is Monomoy Girl. And she's coming back now. This is one of the quickest returns she's had, right? She missed her whole 4-year-old season.
18 months, yeah.
Yeah, and then didn't come back till May. So she's coming back now, and this is like a week off compared to the layoff she's seen.
And this race was supposed to happen a little bit earlier in the schedule. So Brad Coxfield, he got a couple extra works into her, and as a result of that, feels she's kind of ahead of the game than where she's probably supposed to be right now.
Absolutely right. She's drawn outside. He had a little more time to tighten the screws. Yeah, bet against her. If you don't want to take 3 to 5, enjoy the greatness of Monomoy Girl.
We'll be lucky if we get 3 to 5.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Just enjoy it. That'll be, again, Fox Sports 1 coverage begins 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Going to be a lot of fun. Grade 3 by Akoa. Should we do this?
Yes, sir.
First race on the card. Muddy racetrack again. Maiden special weight. 1 turn mile coming up. And I thought Cole Schaff was going to be really difficult to beat in this first race. Lightly raced, the dirt debut for this Danny Gargan filly. Showed a lot of talent. And, I Ain't Afraid of No Ghost was in this race as well. But it's Cole Schaff who was wider early, and she's the one who sort of took a run at the pace setter in here and did the hard work.
Yeah, and you'll see I Ain't Afraid of No Ghost, Greg mentioned. She's third right now. She's going to close this gap considerably. The 3 of them are going to hit the line together. This is a day where Baba got loose on the front end at 25 to 1 and just kept on trucking along here. It looked like Cole Schaff had every chance. And it looks at the end like I Ain't Afraid of No Ghost was doing a lot of running late. I think this field was kind of coming back to them a little bit more than her gaining ground, I Ain't Afraid of No Ghost. So, yeah, I mean, Cole Schaff looks logical. I think the problem I have is I can't get it out of my head. She was never more than a length or so away from the winner that day, and she just could not reel her in. She had every chance. She probably had her in her sights for 3/8 of a mile and just couldn't cut her down. That bothers me a lot. Okay. I know it's just one dirt race. She can obviously win this race, but it bothered me a lot.
So you went to the filly I liked second in here, and she comes out of a productive race. Winner came back to win by 6 lengths next time out at Laurel. Third place finisher, Rob Atras filly, would break her maiden.
She looked good here last week in Maracuja, yeah. Mark Hennig's had a really nice meet up here in New York, winning it right around 25%, a little under 25%. This filly improved last time. Now you can say, well, she didn't run that great on a sloppy track. She ran into a first-time start. She ran into a horse. I shouldn't say a first-time start. She ran into a horse and hit the whoa, who, Christophe Clement was winning everything in sight, would hit the whoa one. The second and third place finishers both came back to win out of that race. She had a little freshening. She runs again. I don't think it was the sloppy track. She's bred to love a sloppy track. The Lasix seemed to help last time. It hasn't hurt to be on a rail here in New York lately. I went to tequila. And I love tequila. I usually drink my tequila with Rudy Rodriguez, but I love tequila.
What's your go-to tequila?
Whatever he puts in my hand.
Okay.
We'd have to ask him.
Leave it up to Rudy Rod.
Pup's laughing, but Pup's seen it happen. So Pup knows that I only drink my tequila with Rudy and Rudy Jr. So I don't know what kind it is. More often than not, when they hand it to me, I probably wouldn't care what kind it is. It's good. Rudy's not drinking anything bad.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll say the strong point, the 4, lightly raced, took money that first time out. Does that tell you that they, at least bettors, believe this filly can run a little bit?
This horse was a little interesting. This horse ran a sneaky good race first time out. The filly that won that race, Just Read It, came back. She didn't run that well on the synthetic down at Turfway Park in the minor stakes race Friday night. But she ran well that day, and she was well regarded. She was 6 to 5 that afternoon, down from like a 5 or 6 to 1 morning line. So she ran into a horse that could run a little bit on dirt. She took some money. She was 9-2 that afternoon. I would not be surprised if she improved a little bit. She gets Jorge Vargas Jr., who's been aggressive and winning races here. If you told me her and Ian Fernando Ghost were going to be the same price, I would certainly use Strong Point over the two.
It was a classic race, I think, where she really got an education out of that. She got squeezed early on. She had to drop back to last, and then she actually did show a little bit of heart. And she's going to have to improve, but start 1 to start 2 is typically where we see that.
No question about it. That's probably one of the biggest. That's probably one of my biggest beliefs in the game. You're going to see a lot of improvement, and like you said, it looked like she got a little bit of an education that day.
Race 2, 50,000 starter allowance, 6 furlongs. Below even money, right?
Our Ghost is
Below
here.
even
See
money?
who's here?
Who?
See who's here? Cadota Pay.
I know. I'm still kicking myself. No, because you ask our producer, ask Bobby Klatt. I originally picked that horse that day, and then the last second before we went on, changed my mind and went elsewhere.
I wound up hitting the pick 4 with her. Wound up hitting the pick 4. I used her on a big pick 4 ticket.
18-1, by the way.
Yeah, used her on a big pick 4 ticket. That was the day I left out the Michelle Nevin firster in the first race. I used the other firster. Didn't use the Michelle Nevin firster. I collected $700 on the pick 3, on the pick 4. The pick 5 only paid $5,300. I mean, what am I going to do with that? Get myself in nothing but trouble with $5,300.
Even when you win, this game is maddening.
You win for my friend Tony used to say this a lot. You win for losing.
Yeah. That's why we love it. That's why we keep coming back
exactly
for more.
Right. We want to win for winning one day.
Massive speed edge to the filly drawn on the rail. It's going to be alone on the lead. And I think the filly who finished ahead of her, she ran second. She was beat a half length last time out, talking about Dial Me Up. There are no violent points in this race. That was a quality filly who beat her last time.
And not only that, there's no violent point to getting her way on the front end this time. This is, Violent Point kind of hounded her. That's not going to happen in here. Yeah, she looks like she's gone. Linda Rice entered this horse Friday, scratched her out of the spot Friday, finds a spot where David made her even money today. David Aragona, morning line odds maker here at Naira, made her even money today. She draws the inside. She's looks like she's loose speed. If you worry about things like this, like I do, she has a win over a track with some moisture in it, a course labeled good down at Monmouth
rightly
Park.
so. You should take that into account, yeah.
So that's where a lone win came. Yeah, she looks the goods to me today.
And how short do you think she's going to be?
I don't think we'll see even money. The funny thing is, I think the other horse that'll take some money in here is the other Linda Rice, the number 5, Mind of Gold, who, while was cutting in half off the claim and off the long layoff, I mean, she ran pretty good last time. So, if she improves second off the break, she's not that far behind the favorite and her stablemate. But Dial Me Up has such a tactical advantage in here that you have to just, I think you really have to lean on her. I wouldn't mind having a backup ticket with Mind of Gold. And here is Dial Me Up in her last start. Outside, has to clear over here. So Violent Point winds up getting the trip right off of her. And
yeah, interesting. So she had to deal, as Anthony said, to outside post last time out. Today she's going to get the rail. And people put so much emphasis, the rail, it can be. If you don't break, it doesn't matter what post position you're in, it's a problem.
Correct.
But if she breaks from the inside, it's just going to help her cause, I believe, because there's no one else to deal with.
Yeah. And she's making her first start for trainer Linda Rice here and took the Soso Freestyle Clement. That's a tough road to hoe. Claiming off Christoph's not the easiest thing to do.
And meanwhile, Mind of Gold, and we're going to see her finish here, and Violent Point is going to get her in the end. Mind of Gold is what, 3-1 morning line?
Yeah.
She's going to be second choice in here, right?
I would think between her and Cadota Pay. I would imagine Cadota Pay, the problem is here, she got a pretty good setup 2 starts back. She's not getting that setup in here today. She's got to deal with a horse that looks like she's going to be loose on the lead. And Cadota Pay did not run well last time. She's coming back in another 20 days. This is a lot of running for a horse that was gone over a year, 54 weeks.
Yeah, I don't like to see that with it. The big comeback off that long layoff. We obviously missed the boat that day.
Yeah.
And then to not back it up and run bad, to expect this one to come back, as you said, on short rest and sort of turn things around. A 6-year-old mare now, you're asking a lot.
I agree.
Okay.
Gonna try and close it out with Sky. I think you liked Sky Kitten last time, too. when we did the show together.
Did I?
It was the same day as Cadota Pay. Yeah, I think you liked her a little bit that day. She didn't run bad. She didn't run poorly. She got a little tired at the 8th pole. I'll tell you what, Eloquent Speaker, who probably should have won that day, came back to win last Saturday. Waylon Josie was second. Kind of like one of those Twilight Zone races coming out of there with Impossible Donna. Impossible Donna did not run particularly well during the week, chasing outside as the favorite. But yeah, I mean, this is one of those races where Dial Me Up looks like she's going to win. If you're going to try and hit the exacta here, I mean, we cover every horse in the underneath spots between the two of us. I wouldn't try and talk you out of anybody. She's going to be a big price too, Sky King.
Single for a lot of people, it looks like, in race 2 if you're playing multi-race exotics in here. Race 3, allowance optional claiming event, 1-turn mile. Big scratch, obviously, with Empty Tomb coming out. The buy-fed funds out as well. I liked Empty Tomb. That was my top pick, actually, in the race for Mike Maker, but that one gone. So in the end, I go to Tenderfoot. Loves this racetrack. I have such high regard for Charlie Baker, too, who trains us 1 and 2 for 2 on a wet track. Yeah,
this horse has run well on a wet track, and I think you can almost argue this horse, well, it's not an argument. This horse's best race came on a wet track 2 starts back. The They Knew police were in effect that day. I mean, this horse was bet from bell to bell. They opened the betting, he was 2-1, and they just kept betting. Every time he drifted up, he got hammered back down. And you know what? He ran like a horse that they knew was going to win that day because he was taking a big step up in class, and he trounced those horses. And you know what? He came back and he ran well behind Mr. Buff last time. He beat Musical Heart. Mr. Buff and Musical Heart both on the wire with Limonite yesterday in the Stymie. And yeah, I mean, he makes a lot of sense in here, an awful lot of sense.
So it's a 4-horse field now with the scratches. What's your take on Chestertown? He's coming out of an entry-level allowance. There was so much made about this horse. $2 million son of Tappet. The Dam was a multiple Grade 1 winner. Artemis Agriterra. 3 for 3 at Aqueduct, but now taking this next big step up to face a couple of good ones in here.
Yeah, he made a good trip for himself last time out. It wasn't that hot of a pace. He was able to stay a little closer than he normally is. And Jose Lascano gave him a beautiful ride. One of the favorites in here did not fire, came back to run a good second last week behind Doubly Blessed with some trouble in the race. I can't remember the horse, the Malibu Star, the horse from Kelly Breen, who kind of got bothered by Daddy Knows, who was drifting out. He took him to like the 5 or 6 path.
I think I remember,
he came back and ran second. He ran a big race. He didn't fire at all that day. Chestertown did. Chestertown now is going to cut back to the 1-turn mile. He's 2 for 2 at the 1-turn mile. He's 3 for 3 here at Aqueduct. He's run well on wet tracks. This is a 4-horse field, and I have nothing but love overall for Danny California. He'd be the only one that would surprise me in here. I put the number 4 Zoomer on top in here. And you know, with all the moisture in the track, it's probably a little bit against Zoomer. But when you look at his PPs, I think he's a horse that's kind of gotten a little bit better with some more distance. The sprints have come, the sloppy track and the wet track races have come in sprints. And he's first off the claim for Rob Actress, and we've seen Rob improve plenty of horses. Now this horse is going to stay at the same level he claimed him for. No conditions left. You're not going to try him in a race like the Stymie. But I think this horse, and you know, 2 starts back, they put him on the lead. I would assume Eric Hansel is going to be aggressive with Tenderfoot in here. If I were Dylan Davis, I wouldn't let him too far out of my sights. In fact, I know they didn't go that fast in the 2-turn race 2 back. I'd try and get this horse to the front today. I don't think he could get it over Tenderfoot, but I would try and put this horse on the lead today.
And those are 2 of the guys who've been really taking advantage of Eric himself, for one, not only saving ground and riding the inside, but those 2 guys using speed to advantage when they have it with horses. Eric and Dylan both have been doing a great job.
I can honestly say, since this track has become a track where you want to save ground, you want to be inside, and we have a great column here, I don't know if anyone has done a better job at using that to his advantage than Eric Hansel.
Yeah.
Eric has done a tremendous job at using the racetrack to his advantage, and that is so. Look, it's the quickest way around ordinarily. You always want to save ground. But when it looks like there's some help down inside, you really want to take advantage of that. Eric has done an amazing job doing that. I'm sure he'll do it with Tenderfoot. He'll probably put him in front. He should. But if I was Dylan Davis on Zoomer, I would do what I can to try and get to the lead in here.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's been fun to watch him take that next step. That's why he's hit the 50 mark already with wins, can't sell. So we'll see what happens with Tenderfoot. Interesting race, too. A lot of times you see these small fields. For some reason, with small fields, there tends to be traffic issues.
There's chaos.
In these small fields for some reason.
There's chaos. And this starts the mandatory payout in the Empire 6, so keep that in mind as we have the 8-race card today.
Ready for the fourth?
Sure.
40 maiden claiming race, another one-turn mile coming up in here. The 3 scratch, huge scratch of the 7 French toast. Were you originally going to go with French toast?
I love French toast in general. I liked this French toast a lot today, yeah.
It's
It's an unfortunate scratch.
All right, so with that one out, we agree. We both like Azhar. Is that how you say?
Yeah, we're going to scratch into Azhar, and I don't want to scratch into a 6-5 shot on the morning line who's already 0 for 9. Now, Azhar has actually won a race. He was disqualified, obviously,
at this
because
level.
he's still a maiden. Yes, at this level, down at Parks, he won a stretch duel, was taken down for bothering his, was disqualified from purse money. So he crossed the line first and was disqualified from purse money, which is a little bit different than a DQ. And he's come back and he tried maiden special weights here. He got beat by the filly Halo City. She came back to win 2 more in a row against fellow fillies and mares. Last time out, Source didn't do a lot of running last time out, but you know what they say, the best hop's a drop, and looks like he found his friends in here. Right.
$800,000 son of Tappet, and things don't always work out in this game. Unfortunately, this horse is testament to that. But yeah, a horse who crossed the wire first here got DQ'd. Then they jumped him up into maiden special, and he beat less than a length. Actually had the lead in the stretch. This horse should get it done today. Without French Toast in this race, if he doesn't win today,
yeah,
I don't know if he's ever going to win.
I don't disagree with that. My first Grammys along the inside gets the bug boy, Louis Cardenas. Louis been doing a good job riding this racetrack as well. Horse showed some speed last time. What are they going to do with Esor today? Is Manny Franco going to be aggressive? I would imagine Louis, who normally is aggressive, is going to try and protect his inside draw. Source ran well. Last time out, second start off a little bit of an October break, like a 10-week break. Yeah, we'll see if he can protect the inside and put the Source in a lead. Here's another one, though. It's kind of hard to defend picking against an 0 for 9 favorite with an 0 for 12 likely second choice.
Yeah.
It's just, the pickings are slim in here now, especially with the scratches. This was a much more interesting race because, with both of the scratches were a little interesting. Not that I liked the gray for Carolyn, but she had a little bit of a license. He had a little bit of a license. Race certainly looks like Azhar is supposed to get out of the maiden ranks.
Yeah, I agree with you. And Zuzudini, the 5 for just a moment. This horse was started against straight maidens, ran in a race against Modernist, who won a Kentucky Derby prep along the way last year, was second, beat a neck in a straight maiden race. What has happened to this horse? He has a couple of races, though, that you go back to. If he could repeat them, he wins here.
Yeah, the blinkers go back on. The horse ran the first 2 starts of his life with the blinkers. Didn't really react well to them. This horse has been handled interestingly by Eddie Barker. This horse debuted going 9 furlongs around 2 turns. As a 2-year-old, that was back in 2019, the only 2-turn 2-year-old race on the dirt up at Saratoga. We didn't see him for a while. He came back with the blinkers. We didn't see him for a while, and he came back without the blinkers. He's going to need something to wake him up. He has one race on a track with some moisture in it. That was the race to Modernist. Maybe that'll help his cause. Maybe the blinkers and a little bit of moisture in the track. And again, 0 for 12 on the rail, 0 for 9 on the inside. He's had chances too at 0 for 8, but the difference is one horse is going to be 3-1, one horse is going to be 3-5, and he's going to be 6-1, 7-1, 8-1. So if you want to try somebody, he'd be the fuzzy I would try in here. But again, you're going to get half the price on what you should probably get on him because of the field size. All
right, we're 4 races in. How many winners do we have to this point? I texted you before we did the show. I said the over-under
4.5.
I think.
We'll go over. Okay. I mean, we can't go. We didn't go over in the first 4. My math is not great, but I can tell you we didn't go over 4.5 in the first 4 races.
We're going to pause for a moment, and we'll be back to kick it off with race 5 right after this.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
Back on Talking Horses, Greg Wolf, Anthony Stabile, who will be
Pup
on
let us know
the
that
mic.
it's a Santa Anita, by the way.
Your tie
Yes.
from a Breeders' Cup, apparently.
Yeah. Breeders' Cup, yeah.
I would have never got that.
There you go.
And I've spent a lot of time at that racetrack. That does not bode well for me.
I haven't been there, so I have an excuse at least.
Oh, you got to get out there one day. We left off leading into race 5. Entry-level allowance, 7 furlongs in this 5th race here.
I counted this as one of the wins for the
Did
day,
you?
just so you know.
Okay, we agree. I thought this was maybe, aside from that lone speed earlier on in the card, maybe the best, at least sure thing win of the day.
She is on this card for me, the bingo square for the day. And, you know, she's in an important race because she's in the early pick 4, the early pick 5, the late pick 4, and the late pick 5. That's a very important race to people playing, and the Empire 6. So she's in the 5 biggies.
She's going to be leaned on heavily.
I mean, anything I lean on is leaned on heavily, but yes, she's going to be leaned on heavily today. You look at her card, she's won 3 of her last 5. The 2 times she got beat by Tenderfoot, who's a colt, right? She got beat by the boys, Tenderfoot, and Mrs. Danvers, who came back to win the Comely by the length of the stretch.
And she gave her all she could handle.
Gave her all she could handle. Gave her all she could handle on a day where Jose Ortiz gave her a brilliant ride. She was loose on the lead from the inside. She got there, she cleared, she went to the rail, and she just got outgained by a filly who came back to gallop in a grade 3. Pat Reynolds has done a great job with her, managing her and finding the right spots for her. A lot of trainers wouldn't have taken the chance against the boys, but he realized he could. She had a real chance in that starter. She finished second. She held the starter condition. She came back and she romped in the starter. She's facing the filly, who is in all likelihood going to be the second choice in here in Serenic. She beat her handily.
It's interesting because that's the one who looks like might be able to outquick her early, if anybody.
It is, but she also looks like the one who, her wet track races might be her Achilles heel. I think she's been a little bit better on the dry track. She has the one race against Jump for Joy, where she got tired late in the game. But I think on a wet track, and I know Invaluable hasn't had the greatest wet track record either, but she's just a different horse now. I mean, I think she's proven that, and she proved that by the fact that she won the 2 Lifetime on the sloppy track and ran an improved race from her other 2 sloppy track races.
Yeah, she was still trying to break her maiden the other tries. Yeah.
I don't worry about that with her. I worry about it more with Serenic today than I would worry about it with Invaluable.
And she doesn't, Invaluable does not have to be on the lead. She doesn't have to be in front. She's tactical. She could sit off Serenic and be as effective.
Correct. Yeah, she showed that last time. She showed it when she broke her maiden that she's not one of these need-to-lead types. All horses that have speed like she does are better when they can get to the top and control. But she doesn't need to.
So underneath, what do you think about Forever Changed?
That's, you know, she's a horse I think is going to be helped by the wet track. She likes it here at Aqueduct. She's drawn it down inside. That's not going to hurt nowadays. She's going to be a square price. I'm not really a Serenic fan. I kind of feel like Glass Ceiling has tailed off a little bit. Elegant Zip is another one. She's kind of in form, right? She got that little break, that little 10-week break, and she came back. And the race 2 back wasn't very fast, but she galloped. And then she came back and she kind of picked things up a little bit.
That's the biggest race of her career.
Yeah.
She's coming off of Elegant Zip.
And now you're going to ask her to do it again, you know, while stepping up here. I mean, I think she's stepping up in here. She's running into a horse who, Invaluable, if she keeps improving, Invaluable's a borderline, you know, minor stakes kind of horse, I think. She'll probably have to get a little bit faster, and here's this is the tough beat to Mrs. Danvers. Just keep in mind, you got a filly that came back to win our Grade 3 Comely here pretty easily. I mean, she's given her all she can handle, like you said earlier. Comes out and meets her here, and at this point, you think Mrs. Danvers is just going to go by, and Invaluable just does not want to give it up here. A fantastic stretch battle, and finally the last, when they hit the paint, when they hit the stripes, Mrs. Danvers finally asserted herself and was able to get by.
Slight little filly, huh?
Yeah.
Yes, I love the fight she showed in that. Another one who I don't believe you're going to get 8 to 5.
No, it's hard to imagine she's going to be above even money in here, but hey, who knows? That Serenic's race last time is better than anything this filly's run in Valuable. It's faster than any race she's run. And Ottawa came back to win during the week. She ran third to her last time, a long way behind her, so we'll see.
Yeah. Got things her own way. Can she go the extra furlong too, Serenic? We'll find out. Linda Rice there in race 5. Race 6, 40,000 claiming race, 3/4 of a mile, and the 2. Tell us the story.
Yes, I'm a little bummed out. I was going to, Ajna Dean, number 2, was scratched in here, was the first race I ever called. December 13th, 2018. I was looking forward to it. He's only run twice since, so obviously something went wrong. I was looking forward to calling him today.
Have you gone back to that day and listened to yourself and to how you've progressed to now?
I do it a lot.
Does it blow your mind?
Yeah, my mind is blown every day I'm in that booth, because it's the only place I ever wanted to be when I was a kid. There aren't too many people, I don't think, on earth that can say they got to the place they wanted to be when they were 10 years old. So it's pinch-worthy, to say the least, on a deal. And I got a lot to pinch, so it's not, I hit a different spot every time.
I love it when you're on the mic. It's going to be great fun today. In here, I went outside, clench, coming off that win for 32. Claimed off of Antonio Arriaga, now with David Duggan, but likes a wet track as well. And that performance from this horse, I think, puts this horse right in the mix. And is faced off against, and we're taking a look at it right now. This was back on February the 8th. Stalking position, and then gets up to win impressively here. Carmouche was aboard that day, and I think, you talked about 2 guys that are riding very well. Jorge Vargas Jr. has made a really good impression here.
And he got off to a slow start at this winter meet, and he's picked things up very, very nicely with his aggression. The problem with Clench is, Clench ran really well. This is a horse who used to be pretty fast, and his speed is all but gone. Overall, I don't think that's a good thing. And whereas where he's run well in his last 2, he's still not at the point he was at. Now, I'll tell you what, this is a horse who has run well on wet tracks, and I think the wet track could help his cause this afternoon. He's certainly a player in here. Last time Reed Can, as fast as he is, not getting the lead over Happy Farm. There aren't too many horses on the backstretch at Belmont, let alone anywhere, that are going to get the lead over Happy Farm early on. And Reed Can, I know it's like we were talking about with Invaluable just 5 minutes ago. He's won from off the pace, but horses like him, they're at their very, very best when they can get to the lead and control. And when you go through this field and you look at Papazar, number 1, doesn't have any speed. Tapatita 4 doesn't have a lot of speed, if any. The Sakari has 0 speed. Honorable Service, no speed. And Clench's speed has seemed to have left him in the last 9 months to a year. Reed Can's supposed to be long gone this afternoon.
And he loves to win, too. 10 for 24, 3-time winner at this track, won on and off track. Looks like he should get to the front. And a rider, too, that's been his regular pilot and knows him.
Yep. Benji's gotten along with this horse, but, listen, Benji's done a good job with him, because on days where he's supposed to let him run from the rip, he's been in front. And on days where there's been some other speed, he's been able to rate. Last time is a different story. Happy Farm was a stakes winner last year. Happy Farm won the Fall Highway last year. Now, it was for Jason Service, and it's not for Jason Service anymore, but he obviously showed he can still get the job done when he's left to his own devices. Reed Can wasn't able to get in front of him last time. Reed Can's supposed to be able to get in front of these horses and boss them around today.
And that makes it, with just him being that speed, that's going to make life almost impossible for Papazar, because he needs pace help.
It's going to make things hard for Papazar. Honorable Service already has it up against him, taking a big jump up in class. I mean, what he faced last time, Clench has races. Topper T even has a couple of races. Reed Can certainly has races that would horrify Honorable Service's best race. It puts all of these horses at a big disadvantage. The funny thing is, there wasn't a lot of speed in here before the scratches. Were you counting on Square Shooter to be a little quicker? I don't know. Ajna Dean, I don't even know what you would have done with him. This horse's edge. And Topper T, you're going to see Topper T has shown some speed in the back. He doesn't have the speed this horse has. They're at a big disadvantage. The rest of the field's at a big disadvantage today when a horse like Reed Can, who you mentioned, 10 for 24 in his career with victories, when he's allowed to set the pace by himself.
Yeah. Should be to his advantage. Breakwell, Reed Can's going to be very difficult, and another one who 3-1. That price could be a lot lower in that 6th race.
Yeah, well, I'd have to imagine. I have the program right here. I'd have to imagine Square Shooter. Yeah, Square Shooter was the 5-2 morning line favorite. So the favorite coming out of here, he's going to be 8-5. I mean, I think Clench will take some money, and I think people will look at Topper T's wet track record, and he'll probably take a little bit of money in here. But yeah, I mean, 8-5 on Reed Can today. I'd almost suggest taking 8-5 on Reed Can today in the win pool. I think he's got a big advantage over these horses today.
3 races where it looks like there's a lone speed who's going to take advantage.
Yep.
7th race, Mijos is out, who was definitely a little interesting in this race. The 7th race here, an allowance optional 80 race, 7/8 of a mile. We got a 6-year-old mare taking on the boys.
Yep.
Who I actually like in this race, and she comes in on an incredible roll for James Farrar. She's won 4 of her last 5. Let me take this call. Is she up to the task?
Jimmy Ferraro did something that is very tough to do. He took a horse off the Orlando Noda barn when the Orlando Noda barn was firing on all cylinders. He ran her back first time, and she didn't really run that well. And I think a lot of people said, well, she didn't run well. You know, he got caught claiming one from a barn that's very streaky, and Jimmy Ferraro has cracked egg over everybody's head on their face who has said that since that day when she got beat back in October. She has turned into an absolute win machine, and she's another one. This is a filly who's kind of reinvented herself. She used to be all or nothing on the front end just last summer. Right? You look, she's got races where when she's not on the lead, she gets beat. There are races on her card when she's on the lead, she was getting beat.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, 2 starts back, she comes from 3 lengths off the lead. Last time out, she comes from a couple of lengths off the lead. She's very, very dangerous. I'm going to tell you what. She's facing the toughest field she has seen, and unless he bumps her up at the stakes competition, one of the toughest fields she's seen. There are some horses in this race, and maybe they've seen better days, but she's facing a salty bunch of horses here, namely the horse I put on top, the number 6 Wicked Trick, who certainly looked like a horse that was going to improve off of his first start back last time. And this is another horse. He put together 6 in a row from the summer at Saratoga of 2019. Here he is. Last time out, just breaking a little bit poorly and still making up a lot of ground to a horse. And Mitres Porciento has won a couple of races here now this winter. He looks like a horse that's going to want a little bit more ground. I think 7 to a mile is right up his alley, hits him right between the eyes. He might even be a smidge better at the flat mile, but I think the 7's going to be just fine for him. He gets Mad Money's in here. He has Let Me Take This Call. Probably won't be too far from it. I think he gets a nice setup in here. I like Wicked Trick today.
Loves this racetrack too. He's been really good on an off track. For what it's worth, Let Me Take This Call has been great on an off track too. She's a 4-time winner.
Yeah.
I thought the big X factor in this race was Sunny Ridge. This horse is incredibly talented. He is grade 1 placed. He was off for over a year, 13 months, comes back, he doesn't do anything. He's got to, if he has a hint of what he used to be, even his C game, he's in the mix, don't you think?
I bit last time. I bit, and I got bit back in a big way.
But I'm okay. I forgive that. First off of the long layoff, he's going to be different today, don't you think?
And if that previously trained by said anything other than Jason Service or Jorge Navarro, I would be right in. I'd be right on your side. I'd be coming right. This is a horse who a year ago I'd have been right back in. Some of these horses, and my argument for him last time was the horses that are going to leave those 2 guys' barns. There are going to be a handful of good ones, but for the most part, they were claiming trainers. Maximum Security left Jason Service, obviously. Maximum Security went to Bob Baffert and won a grade 1. Firenze Fire left Jason Service, went to Kelly Breen. Kelly and John Atfield did an amazing job getting him to win a couple of states. Won out Vosburg, right? Ran third in the Breeders' Cup. I think he just got beat down in Florida this winter. Firenze Fire. And I kind of felt like Sunny Ridge, he wasn't as good as those two. But that was awful last time. I mean, you want to talk about a horse that didn't run 2 steps.
Yeah.
He did not run 2 steps. And now, they're going to cut him back. If anything, I would have sent him long. I would have tried to just let him work the kinks out going long against a group like this. They're going to cut him back. You want to talk about a horse that doesn't really have any. I mean, leaving that barn, I can't trust him to have a smidge. If you told me this race was 1 1/8 miles, I would have given him a little love. But at 7, unless I'm completely wrong, and this isn't me tearing you up. Listen, this horse is 10-1 and has races that would absolutely win this race.
Yeah.
I learned my lesson last time.
No, you're right. And look, there's a couple of outliers, as you mentioned, from that barn who still have run well because they had talent to begin with. But yeah, for
and he's
a lot of these
horses.
runners, you got to pay extra attention.
He's
you're
a millionaire.
Completely right.
Horse won almost $1.5 million.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the reason I got fooled last time. But I got buried with him last time. I bet on him last time, and he didn't run 2 steps. It's very hard to win. Now he's in for the tag. I know he's out of conditions, but now he's in for the tag. Last time was a money allowance race. Today's the 3 other than allowance condition, which is why he wasn't in for the tag last time. He has to run for the tag today. Hey, listen, talk about egg on my face. There'll be an omelet. There'll be a Western omelet on my face if he runs today.
We'll see. The 3 Mad Moneys, you went with second in here. Mad Moneys, Rudy Rodriguez.
I think you have to worry about him getting loose on the lead in here.
Yeah.
When this horse gets loose on the lead, I'm going to tell you another thing, too. I want to talk about a horse that likes a wet track. This horse likes some moisture in the racetrack. He's going to get to the lead today because unless they decide to let me take this call back into a speed horse, I don't see anybody else that can go with this horse today. He is very, very dangerous when he's left alone on the front end. Romero Mirage hasn't won a lot of races, but the ones he's won, they've been on the front end.
God, it's all or nothing with this horse.
Yeah.
I mean, he puts in a race like he did 2 starts back, and then next start, he does not show up or run a step.
Jorge Vargas put him on the lead 2 starts back in a race where a lot of the other jockeys were grabbing when the gates opened. He blasted him off, he let him roll early, and he was able to hold on late. He's got to go a furlong less today from the mile, and again, unless let me take this call, pockets up right outside of him. He's gone. I almost put this horse on top today, but I'm a big Wicked Trick fan. He looked like he needed the race last time, and I think Wicked Trick's best races can beat these horses.
Yeah, he had a 1-on-1 buyer, not that far off. It's going to be fun to watch. This is a good race.
Right? Honor Up's a former stakes winner. Mad Money's is going to be on a lead. T Loves a Fights as hard knocking as they come. Sunny Ridge has earned $1.4 million. Wicked Trick won 6 in a row. And let me take this girl's calls a man running against the boys. Fun. Yeah. This is a fun feature today.
No, definitely. 8th race, $20,000 maiden claiming event. It's 3/4 of a mile in the 6 furlong sprint coming up. The One Kiss admission is out in this spot. This is a race where it's difficult to trust anybody at all in this spot. You have a Steve Asmussen runner, black and tan, who drops to the lowest level he's ever run at yet. Hasn't done much running yet. I thought Sinishak was one you could at least feel somewhat good about. Dropping from, has been at 40 before, coming out of a couple of 50 races, but actually ran against a horse named Charlie 5-0, who's run against better company since going on to break his maiden. An Accelerator, who he's only been a length to, came back and won his next 2 starts.
Yeah, I mean, you could just, last time you could chalk it up. He didn't want to go to mile. Toss it. Cuts back to the 6. He cuts in half to the 20.
This is the race against Accelerator.
Yeah, this is the race Accelerator. You know, excuse me, I talk about this all the time. When you do a show like this on a pretty much a daily basis, if you don't learn from your partner and your partner doesn't learn from you, and obviously Andy and I learn things from each other, he would tell you I learn more from him than he does from me.
Of course he would.
When these horses hit the wire like that, in dirt races, ordinarily it's not a good thing. Turf races, just the dynamics of a turf race are different. When they hit the line like this in dirt races, more often than not, you don't want the horses hitting the wire like that. Right, yesterday the Stymie's a little different. They're stakes horses. They're high allowance horses in stakes. It's Mr. Buff. And Mr. Buff won 45 and change yesterday, so
yeah.
it's a different story. But you see these bottom level maidens and these condition claiming races, and you see there's right 4 of them on the line. It's just going to be the length. I think there was a 5th horse there within a half length of them. You have 5 of them finishing within 2 lengths of each other. Ordinarily, they don't want them. Greg, where are you going to go in here?
That was the thing. And the race out of that, where you say, oh, wow, this horse completely regressed. Stretched him out to a mile. He didn't want to do a mile. He's back to sprinting where he's shown ability. He's the most logical in this spot. And look, he's 2-1. You can lean on a Hall of Fame barn. I thought maybe Euro Silver Biz the 7.
Hit the board, right?
What's that?
I have Black and Tan second. He's never hit the board.
Yeah, I know.
You're going to hope like me, you're going to hope the blinkers wake him up. 10-week layoff, 10-week break. That's not even a layoff. I mean, it's a little bit of a break. Got the Lasix back last time. He didn't do much running. You're going to hope the blinkers wake him up, I guess. You were talking about Euro Silver Biz, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I thought there was some things like cutting back in distance. The horse showed speed first time out in that debut against a better maiden 40 group. And you have Dylan Davis, who's, again, conscientious about putting horses forward on horses he knows that have speed. He might be able to do that in this race. This is a race where if you do get to the front, you could break the spirit of the rest of that field pretty quickly.
I don't know if he can get in front of Awesome Yet Again. Awesome Yet Again chased Dr. K first time here. Then Wayne Potts shipped him to Penn National, and he was able to get in front. I don't know if he's going to be able to get in front of him, but he's the horse where, and this is, I don't like to do this with bottom level maidens, but if you want the horse that's supposed to get the trip in here, Euro Silver Biz is supposed to be sitting right behind Awesome Yet Again. And if you don't think Awesome, Awesome Yet Again, you don't trust that Penn National form.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I don't. He's going to be the one to kind of pick him up first, and then, maybe the rest of them don't want to pass. Maybe ask Neil, who's dropping in for the 20 for the first time and cutting back to 6 furlongs for the first time since his debut. He don't want to pass horses. Maybe Sinishak doesn't want to pass. Sinishak didn't look like he wanted to pass horses that day. He was just kind of hanging around with the boys at the wire. Yeah, I mean, he makes a lot. He'll be on my tickets. This is not a lean, by the way. This is a race where you'd like to play this pick 5, and you'd almost like to have one ticket when there's only 7 horses in here, where if you're going thin early, you hit the all button in here and hope for
the exact
the first
same
to
thing.
wake up or the bottom horse, yeah.
And there's races we talked about earlier where you can be thin and make choices and get coverage going into this last race.
No question about it. No question about it. Looking forward to the feature today. It's a fun. It's fun for the other end with the optional tag.
It's the last day of February.
Unbelievable.
Where's the year gone?
2 months down, 10 to go.
I could start looking for a place in Saratoga.
4.5 months in Saratoga, man. I was just about to say it. 4.5 months.
Right around the corner.
Months.
All right, so I said the over and under 4.5. What do you think?
I feel very confident about over 4.5
Over?
today. Yeah.
I'm with you.
Self-pat on the back. I had 5 last Sunday.
Did
on
you?
a much tougher card. I gotta think we're gonna go for. I think we're going over 4.5 today.
Okay.
Unfortunately, 1 from last Sunday might not account for the total ROI of the 4 or 5 we get today. But
we're just counting W's.
Trying to get some W's. That's all. Right. Just trying to keep the chains moving in the pick 4, pick 5, and the
It's the kind of card you got to work with what you got.
Exactly right. You know where they can. You know where they can work with what you got.
Where?
Naira Bets. That's where they can work with what they got.
NairaBets.com. Go to the app as well. Take advantage of that promo code, match 200. 100% deposit match up to $200 at sign up. Bet all these races today, that late pick 5. This late pick 5 today, get a little chaos in that last race. Remember, it only takes one price, and it pays. 50-50, bet 50 at Aqueduct, 50 at Oaklawn, and you earn a $10 bonus.
App only.
Only through the app. That's the key takeaway from the show today.
App only. Except when you go to dinner, you don't want just appetizers. You want an entree as well.
Yes. America's Day at the Races we'll see at 4 Eastern Time, starting over on FS2. And then Monomoy Girl makes her 2021 debut, Grade 3 by Akoa. That's over on FS1, starting at 5 Eastern Time.
Can't wait. Looking forward to seeing the big mare run.
It's going to be fun.
Yep. This
I
was
enjoyed
fun.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll do it again soon, I'm sure. I think Andy has some more days off.
Okay. Can't wait.
All right. I'll be back with the scratches and changes in about 30 seconds.